Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to break down an important Supreme Court decision that affects all of us. The justices just issued a rare unanimous 9-0 ruling, and it changes how both the Second Amendment, your right to own a firearm, and the Fourth Amendment, your right to privacy, are understood and enforced. This ruling means real changes in how states handle gun laws, how police conduct searches, and how secure your personal information is, both in your home and online. Whether you're a gun owner or someone simply concerned about your privacy, what the court decided will touch your daily life. So stick with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly what has changed, why it matters, and what to expect next. And before we dive in, let me ask, where are you watching from today? Just drop your city and state in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing where everyone is tuning in from across the country. Point 1. What the Supreme Court decided. The Supreme Court came together in a unanimous ruling, 9 justices in agreement, not a single one dissenting. That alone should make us sit up and take notice, because it's rare. On matters this sensitive, it usually splits 5-4 or 6-3. But this time, all 9 justices said the same thing: the balance between government power and citizens' rights has to be set straight. So, what did they decide? First, they took a hard look at the Second Amendment. For years, many states and local governments have passed laws that made it extremely difficult for ordinary, law-abiding citizens to own or carry a firearm. The court said clearly, this right is not just for militias or special groups, it belongs to individuals. And it's not a hollow right. You cannot be weighed down with so many rules, permits, fees, and waiting times that you are left defenseless. The justices affirmed that the core of the Second Amendment is self-defense, especially in your own home. That means if you want to protect yourself and your family, the government can't put up walls so high that your right becomes meaningless. Next, they turned to the Fourth Amendment, which protects your privacy. For too long, loopholes and exceptions allowed searches without warrants under special circumstances. Police could sometimes walk into a home, check a car, or even pull phone records without going through the proper legal process. The court said this has gone too far. From now on, warrantless searches face much stricter limits. If law enforcement wants access to your home, your car, or your personal digital life, emails, texts, cloud storage, they need strong legal grounds and proper authorization. Convenience for the government is not enough reason to bypass your constitutional protections. Think about what that means. It means the court is reminding the nation that rights are not optional. They cannot be brushed aside because it makes the government's job easier. Our privacy, our safety, our dignity, these things are built into the Constitution. The justices didn't erase every law or regulation, but they drew a bright line: restrictions must be reasonable, fair, and respectful of the freedoms guaranteed to every American. In plain terms, the court said, enough. Citizens have rights that cannot be watered down. This is a turning point, not just in legal history, but in everyday life for millions of people who want to feel safe in their homes and secure in their privacy. Point 2. Why this ruling matters for gun owners. Now let's talk directly about what this means if you own a firearm, or if you've ever thought about owning one but felt discouraged by all the red tape. For many years, states have passed laws that made the process slow, expensive, and sometimes nearly impossible. Some required long waiting periods, multiple layers of paperwork, or even banned certain types of commonly used firearms altogether. For older adults, especially those living on fixed incomes or in communities where safety is a concern, these barriers could feel overwhelming. The Supreme Court's ruling changes that landscape. By affirming that the Second Amendment protects individuals, not just militias, the justices made it clear that your right to self-defense is real and enforceable. It is not just an idea, it is something you can act on without being buried under unnecessary restrictions. The ruling does not erase every single gun law, but it raises the standard. Laws now have to show a genuine, strong reason for existing. They can't just be about precaution or control. If a regulation makes it practically impossible for an ordinary, law-abiding person to own a firearm, that law is now open to being struck down. For seniors, this is especially important. Many of you live alone or with a spouse, and the feeling of being able to protect yourself in your own home brings peace of mind. The court emphasized that self-defense inside the home is at the very core of the Second Amendment. That means governments cannot interfere in a way that leaves you helpless. You should not have to choose between waiting months for approval or going without protection altogether. Another point to understand is that this decision may set off a wave of legal challenges. Across the country, laws that ban certain firearms or demand lengthy delays may now be challenged in court. Advocacy groups, lawyers, and everyday citizens will push back on rules that no longer pass. Point 3. The impact on privacy and searches. Now, let's turn to the part of the ruling that affects every single American, whether you own a firearm or not: your right to privacy. This is about the Fourth Amendment, the shield that protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. For years, there have been exceptions that allowed police or government agencies to step around this protection. Maybe they claimed it was an emergency or tied it to a minor violation. And in many cases, they didn't always need a warrant to check your property, your car, or even your personal information. The Supreme Court's ruling now draws a much sharper line. Warrantless searches can't just be done for convenience anymore. If law enforcement wants to enter your home, open your glove compartment, or look into your phone or computer files, they must have strong legal grounds and proper authorization. This is not about making police work harder, it's about protecting the rights of ordinary citizens, so that your private life doesn't get treated like public property. Think of what this means in today's world. Privacy isn't just about your house or your backyard, it's also about your digital life. Many of us keep family photos, personal letters, medical information, and financial records on our phones or stored in the cloud. The court said that technology does not erase constitutional rights. If anything, it makes protecting them even more important. Police or government officials cannot simply tap into your email, track your messages, or pull your data without going through the right legal process. That's a huge reassurance, especially at a time when so much of our lives have moved online. For seniors, this ruling carries even more weight. Many older adults already feel vulnerable to scams, identity theft, or government overreach. Knowing that the highest court in the land has reinforced your right to privacy, both in your home and in your digital life, should bring a sense of security. You deserve to know that your personal belongings, your memories, and your communications are protected unless there is a clear, legal reason to access them. This also sends a message to law enforcement: shortcuts are no longer acceptable. If there's no warrant, no strong justification, they cannot invade your space, whether that's your living room or your inbox. And if they do, you now have stronger grounds to challenge those actions in court. In plain terms, the Supreme Court reminded the nation that privacy is not a luxury. It's a fundamental right. And it belongs to you, regardless of your age, your background, or where you live. Point 4. How states might respond. Now that the Supreme Court has spoken so clearly, the next big question is, what happens in the states? Because while the court sets the standard, it's the states that write and enforce many of the laws that touch your daily life. And this ruling is going to shake things up. Let's start with gun laws. Some states have very strict rules about which firearms you can own, how long you have to wait before buying one, and what kind of registration or licensing you must go through. With this new ruling, those states are under pressure. Laws that make it nearly impossible for ordinary, law-abiding people to exercise their rights will face challenges. Legislators may have to rewrite or even repeal laws that the court has now made unconstitutional. That means we could see lawsuits, heated debates in state assemblies, and political fights as lawmakers on both sides argue over how much freedom or restriction is appropriate. The same goes for privacy and search policies. Many police departments have been trained under old rules that allowed broad exceptions for warrantless searches. Those practices will now have to change. Officers will need retraining. Departments may have to update their handbooks, their protocols, and even the way they handle technology. Some of these changes won't happen overnight, but the pressure is real, because if they don't adapt, their actions could be ruled illegal in court. This will also trickle down to state courts. Judges in local and state courts will suddenly see more cases where people challenge laws that used to pass as good enough. That means more lawsuits, more appeals, and more rulings trying to line up with the new Supreme Court standard. For citizens, that could feel confusing for a while. You may hear one thing from your local officials and another from the courts as the dust settles. For seniors, the important takeaway is this: change is coming, but it may take time. If you live in a state with strict gun laws or broad search practices, expect to see legal and political battles in the months and years ahead. Some rules may loosen, others may be rewritten, and many will be challenged in court. That means staying informed is key. Your rights are stronger now, but you'll want to keep an eye on how your state responds. In short, the court has drawn the line. Now it's up to the states to walk it, and that process will not be smooth or quick. But it will matter, because it's in the states where you will feel the real effects of this ruling. Point 5. Key takeaways for everyone. Now let's bring everything together in a way that matters most for you and me in everyday life. Supreme Court rulings can sometimes feel distant or wrapped up in legal language, but this one reaches right into our homes, our routines, and our peace of mind. So what are the key points you should walk away with? First, your right to own and keep a firearm for self-defense is more secure than ever. The court made it clear that states cannot bury you under endless rules that make gun ownership nearly impossible. If you are a law-abiding person who simply wants to protect your home and family, the government has no right to treat you like a criminal. This does not mean all rules are gone, but it does mean they must be fair, reasonable, and respectful of your constitutional right. For many older adults, this is about more than a principle, it's about feeling safe where you live. Second, your privacy has been strengthened. The court reinforced that your home, your belongings, and your digital life cannot be searched without strong legal grounds. This is not just about dramatic cases, it's about the everyday security of knowing your phone, your letters, your medical records, and your family photos cannot be taken or viewed without proper authorization. For seniors who already worry about scams, fraud, and intrusion, this decision is a welcome reassurance that your private life is not open for government convenience. Third, state laws are going to change. Some will be rewritten, some will be challenged in court, and some may even disappear. That means the rules in your state may not look the same next year or the year after. There will be political battles, lawsuits, and debates, and that can create confusion. The important thing for you is to stay informed. Know your rights, follow the updates, and don't assume that just because it's always been that way, it will stay that way. Fourth, your rights are not just words on paper, they are enforceable. The Supreme Court has reminded the country that the Constitution still protects ordinary people. Whether it's your right to defend yourself or your right to keep your private life private, these are living protections. They cannot be ignored by lawmakers, police, or anyone else in authority. Finally, remember this is only the beginning. More lawsuits will be filed, more state laws will be tested, and more court decisions will follow. But for now, you can breathe a little easier knowing that both your safety and your privacy have been strengthened by the highest court in the land. My friends, what we've just walked through is more than another news headline, it's a turning point. The Supreme Court's unanimous decision has reminded us that the rights written into our Constitution are not just history lessons, they are living protections. They cover us today, right now, in our homes, in our daily lives, and even in the way we connect with one another through technology. For gun owners, this means the law cannot make it nearly impossible for you to defend yourself or your loved ones. For all Americans, it means your privacy is not up for debate. The government must respect your home, your belongings, and even your digital life. And for every one of us, it means that states and local authorities will have to adjust to this new reality, whether they like it or not. Yes, the coming months will bring lawsuits, debates, and some confusion as states rewrite laws and courts handle challenges. But at the end of the day, this ruling is about something bigger. It's about dignity, independence, and freedom. The things we've worked our whole lives to hold on to. I know many of you watching have seen a lot of changes in this country over the years, some for better, some for worse. But this decision is a reminder that the voice of the people and the strength of the Constitution still carry weight. You are not powerless. Your rights still matter. And they are worth defending. Before we wrap up, I'd like to hear from you. How do you feel about this ruling? Do you believe it will make a difference in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe, so you never miss important updates that affect your rights and your future. Stay informed, stay strong, and remember, you are never too old to know and protect your freedoms.